Hi there. Welcome to Immersive Media Communications. My name is Brady Baim. You can call me Mr. Baim. You can call me Brady. Either one is fine. Um, you might ask yourself, coming into a class like this, what is immersive media communications? You may have been in a communications class before. You may have been in a digital media class before. Probably not in an immersive media class before, but an immersive media communications class might be entirely new to you. So I'd like to define what immersive media communications is for you. And then also, I would like to do just a dive into history, the history of VR, at least in the sense of the history of VR experience, and what it is to experience virtual worlds. So, without further ado, shall we start our lesson for today? Thank you for being here. The first question I think we ought to ask ourselves with what is immersive media communications is what is immersion? And if you ask me what immersion is, I'm just going to tell you that immersion is a deep dive. Um, but I am not the end all be all source on immersion. And so I look to Merriam-Webster to get a look at what it is to immerse oneself. And to immerse oneself, they say, is to plunge into something that surrounds or covers, especially to plunge or to dip into a fluid. And so the act of immersing or the state of being immersed is to really jump into something that surrounds you. And so this image we see before us is that of a diver who is completely surrounded by the water. I think this is a good image of immersion because it provides us with an idea that immersion is not only a multi-sensory experience, that our body will is surrounded by this, that our body physically might be able to feel something, but also that our entire mind is within this sphere as well. So if our entire being is immersed within media and communications and new technology, we have to ask ourselves, what are we looking at? What is media? And it's not just the news. Media is the games that you play. Media is the articles that you read. Media is art. It's the art that you look at. Media are the books that you read. Media is the social media that you scroll. Media is television that you watch. It's on our tablets. It's on our laptops. Media is on our computers. Media is on our VR, our AR, our XR devices, our virtual reality, our augmented reality, and our mixed reality devices, which we'll talk about in the next slide here. It's on our cell phones. Media is also this PowerPoint. You just cannot get away from consuming media in today's day and age. So, like I said, I wanted to get into VR, AR, and XR models and examples of what immersive media is. And immersive media, like I had said, really gives you that multi-sensory experience. So, some examples of immersive media are virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. In virtual reality, the user or the game player puts on a HMD, a head-mounted display, or some sort of virtual headset, such as a MetaQuest 3 or an HTC Vive. Some of these headsets are connected to the game system, such as the PlayStation VR 2. Um, and the user is then immersed into a new world or a scene or a place where they do not see the real world anymore. Augmented reality is different. Augmented reality, you do see the world before you. It's just those virtual reality components are overlaid on the real world. So like Pokemon Go is a very good example of this. Using your phone, you can see the Pokemon in the real world. And Snapchat filters are great examples of these too. You can move furniture around and move little creatures around your room and dogs even I have done before. So augmented reality is more putting objects and interlaying maybe creatures or objects over the real world. Mixed reality, however, is a little different, and it combines and interacts with real and virtual worlds. This is like the MetaQuest Pro or the Apple Vision Pro, where the user really can be in augmented reality, but they can also be in virtual reality and see the virtual world and the real world at the same time. So that is combined. Now that we understand some ideas of virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality, those immersive medias, I would like to talk about what communications is. And to me, communications is reaching out in the broadest application, be it digital, physical, verbal, nonverbal, through a sign or through a symbol. But once again, I would like to go deeper. I would like to immerse ourselves into what Merriam-Webster defines as communication. Merriam-Webster defines communication as a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. In summary, immersive media communications is a deep dive into media using advanced technologies, creating multisensory interactive experiences. So now that we have this basis of what immersive media communications is, we can do a deep dive into the history of VR and those experiences that have been since the dawn of time. I really like this quote by Edwin Powell Hubble, a famed astronomer. He says, equipped with his five senses, man explores the universe around him and calls the adventure science. For those of us who are studying multisensory experiences in VR, this quote encapsulates what science truly can be. And I just feel like it's so human. This quote is so human, and science is so human, trying to figure out the fact of what is true. So I have some pictures of cave paintings here to just show you that the experience of multisensory seeking has always been. People have always been seeking to have panoramic, surrounding, immersion in their art. Here's another painting. The idea is that people want to immerse themselves in art. They want to immerse themselves in experience. They want to take that deep dive and have an experience. The paintings on the walls of caves show us that humans are already gifted with an expansive and naturally stereoscopic view due to our binocular vision. Humans once gravitated towards artwork on caves, which was sometimes panoramic in view. But it's not only caves. Franz Robaud created the Battle of Borodino in 1812, sometime after some of these cave paintings. And this was really one of the first panoramic paintings that was just massive, where the viewer would feel completely immersed just standing in front of this painting. Also in the 1800s, the stereoscope was invented. Another experience for the seekers of multisensory experiences. And Charles Wheatstone was the inventor of this device. As you can see, this is him sitting at his stereoscope. The stereoscope creates a right eye image and a left eye image. And the user is looking through mirrors, which allows for each image to go through to its specific eye. The left eye image goes to the left eye, and the right eye image goes to the right eye. And then your brain creates a unified image which has depth of field, which is very interesting. So let's watch a video which kind of describes this in simpler terms.
When you take a picture with a 3D camera, you get a left eye image and a right eye image. They're basically identical, but taken from slightly different perspectives, just like your left and right eyes have slightly different perspectives. In order to see this in 3D, you need a stereoscope. This isolates the left image to your left eye, the right image to your right eye, and your brain then mashes the images together. Because these images mimic what each of your eyes would see in a three-dimensional world, the brain is tricked into perceiving depth of field. The result is a unified 3D image.
To me, this technology is huge. This technology uses what the brain already has, and it capitalizes on that, capitalizing on what the brain already naturally does, taking a right eye image and a left eye image. The stereoscope uses that right eye image and that left eye image to create a whole unified picture. And I just think that is so interesting. So, for your homework today, for your in-class experience, you're going to create a stereoscope using construction paper and some sticks and some tape. And also, you'll have images available for you to create this stereoscope. Now, your stereoscope won't be as advanced as Charles Wheatstone's, where it's made of wood and he's sitting at the table. Yours will just be a handheld stereoscope. But you'll understand, and it will isolate the right eye image and the left eye image. And you might have to look at it from the right perspective, the right angle for it to perfectly do what it needs to do. But your stereoscope will be a stereoscope. So I hope that is a fun activity for you. And I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson today. Next are my works cited, my sources. Thank you very much for listening to my video, and I hope you have a beautiful day.